Hello everyone, welcome to Quarrelsome Rhinoceros Stitches, episode 12. My name is Monica, I'm the host. This is a knitting and crafting podcast. I haven't shown anything other than knitting yet, but I'm getting a little into it, so a little into something else right now that I will share probably on my next episode. As I said, my name is Monica. I live in Bangor, Maine with my best friend, her fiance, and my dog, Kelsier. You can find me on social media as Quarrelsome Rhino and on Instagram, and as Morux, M-O-R-U-X, on Ravelry. And if you search Quarrelsome Rhinoceros, you'll find me. I'm pretty much the only one. So before I get started into what I've been working on these last 2 weeks, I will talk a little bit about, I have some patterns that I'm going to need test knitted pretty soon, and I'll talk a little bit about the Ravelry group and how that's going to work. Before I get into anything, I'm going to talk about my works in progress first, and then I'll talk about my finished objects, and then acquisitions. I think that we should just get right into it. So sorry if I'm looking down. I actually wrote out a little note card of show notes today. Anyway, so first, with sort of admin kind of things. So I've written 2 patterns. I actually finished typing up one of them last night, and I'm still working on the second one that will need to be test knit. And I'll probably put a big call out on social media as well, but I figured I would talk about it here. I have one shawl that I'm finished with the pattern for, and I do need it to be test knit. I have a hat. Now the hat is more of for me, when I knit the hat, I like my hats really loose and... Kelsier, honey, what's up? Kelsier is sad that I'm at an angle where I can't show him on the podcast also. I need you to sit, please. You have to wait. I'm talking to my camera. Yeah. Anyway. He really wants to be in my bedroom, which is that door right there. But if I have the door open, you can see all the mess in my bedroom. And then if he's in there and I close the door, he's upset that I've left him in my bedroom. You really can't win with this dog. Anyway, enough about that. Moving on. So test knitting. So I have a shawl that is completely finished. The pattern's written. It just needs to be tested. It is for Aran weight, and it only needs about 400 yards, which is about 200 grams. I had enough left over from 200 grams of Aran weight yarn, like for little tiny balls of, I think it was like 3 ounces, or not 3 ounces, 3 grams and 8 grams left from the 2 skeins that I had. So it doesn't take a whole lot of yarn. It is an 8mm needle, so it's pretty big. And it's like thick and quick kind of shawl. But I will put all of the information in my show notes and in my Ravelry group, which is called Quarrelsome Rhinoceros Stitches. If you search that on Ravelry, you'll find it. I'm gonna put a thread in there for people who want to test knit. They can like join the group and reply there, so it's all in one place, and I know how to contact people for feedback and such. So everything will go there, and so head over to Ravelry, check out my group. I put all of the show notes there. There's only like 3 lonely people there anyway, so come and join. That's enough about that. I think I will move on now to works in progress. So first, I haven't done a whole lot of knitting on my Koru cardigan. I did a little bit right after the podcast last time, and I can't, I'm a bad podcaster because I forgot I forgot to mark my place. But this is how the back is sort of shaping up. Oh, I'm in the middle of a row. Wow. Wow. That was not well planned. Oh man. Okay, so I'm in the middle of a row, so it'll be a little difficult to show you the whole thing. But here is at least the interesting part. The rest is just stockinette. I was somewhere down here the last time I showed it to you. I think I was somewhere here, and I was a bad podcaster and I forgot to put a stitch marker. But yeah, I will do that right now. Yes, I'm still really loving this pattern. I just kind of got sidetracked. I didn't want to bring it with me to Belfast. I'll talk about that in the end. I'll have a little what's going on in my life section. And yeah, so just put this. I'm so bad at putting these little progress keepers. I'm bad at lobster clasps because, I don't know. It's funny, I used to make jewelry, so you'd think that I would be better at working lobster clasps, but I'm really not. Okay, so I have put the stitch marker on, so if I make any progress, I'll actually be able to see the progress I made. So, I think I was down here last time. And so I'm a little over halfway done with the body shaping part, and then I'll have to shape for the sleeves after that. So the rows are really long. That's the problem. Like for the sides, which I have finished both front parts, the rows were fairly short. Obviously, they're a lot shorter than the back panel, so it was a lot easier to whip up that quickly. But yes, so again, this is the Koru cardigan. It's a pattern by Frenchie of Aroha Knits, and I'm knitting it on in Knit Picks gloss fingering in the honey colorway, and I forgot my yarn to dork. Okay, so that will come in handy later. Anyway, yes, so it's done in Knit Picks gloss lace. Anyway, back to it. Okay, so the next work in progress. Oh, and I'm holding that. Ooh, I'm so bad at telling you what bags I'm using. So this is a bag that my grandmother got me for Christmas. It's from a company called 3 Bags Full, and I believe they are a Maine-based company. I don't have their tag, but the inside is this really pretty red fabric. The zipper is also red. You can see that, yeah. The zipper is also red, and I really, really, really love the owls. They're so cute. Okay, next, living in my Hannah Lisa Haferkamp bag, sort of blue, these like gray lines on it. I put a bunch. Everybody that has those fringe supply bags, whatever they're called, and they put a bunch of pins on them, and I was jealous, and so I put pins on my bag that doesn't really stand up. Anyway, so I guess I should talk about these at acquisitions, but I'm going to talk about them now. So I have this one that is yarn core, this one that says I'd rather be knitting. I've got a little black bear. That's the mascot for my university. And then I have a little Aladdin sing, David Bowie. Anyway, so inside this bag, I guess, is the more interesting part. That's what you're here for. Oh, that fell off. Oops. Sorry. So, since I finished a pair of socks, while I was at my grandmother's house this weekend. I decided to cast on another pair of socks. So I used my Lolo Did It in the Zombies colorway. So it's got these, it's like a cream base with like sort of mint or like really light blue, I think, bits, and then some red bits and some black bits, speckles. And I absolutely love this yarn. This yarn is so soft, and it's amazing. So here is, it's the plush sock, which is a 75 merino, 15 nylon, 10% tencel. And so there is the tag. And it is in the Zombies colorway. And I always actually take the yarn, the tag around the yarn, and then I take a little sample and I put this on my bulletin board when I ball it up. Okay, so there's that, and so that's what I went to get. So I'm doing the Wingardium Leviosa sock pattern by Green Lambkin Yarns, and I'm so far on this sock. Oh my gosh, these socks have gone super quickly. So this is my first time trying 2 at a time socks, and first of all, I love it because I'm almost done. I'm like partway down the foot now. So the sock, I have to stretch it out so you can see it. So yeah, once they're blocked out, I think they'll look, I mean, obviously they'll look a lot better, but I really love how like skinny mini it is right now. But yeah, so I really love how it's knitting up. I love the, like how it looks in the yarn. And I guess I'll just show you this too, because I'm really proud of it. I really enjoy this heel flap. I don't normally do a heel flap and gusset because it just takes me a lot longer. I will say these did take me, the heel turn on this took me a really long time to get down to where I'm just doing the foot stitches now. It took me almost an entire day of knitting just to do that. But now that I'm on the foot, it's the same number of stitches and it'll be fine. Same number of stitches as the leg and it'll be fine. But I really enjoy the lace pattern. Without giving too much away, because it is a paid for pattern, it is really easily memorizable. There's like one row where you're doing something different and then the rest of them are very similar. So I hope that doesn't give away too much, but it really is nice. I think it's gonna be a really fun lacy sock. And I'm really looking forward to doing more socks 2 at a time. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. I have to knit a pair of socks for my grandmother. She bought me yarn to make those socks and I have not cast them on yet. So, and I've made 3 pairs of socks for myself since she bought the yarn. So, anyway, yes, so that is my, I'm knitting it on a US 2, which is a 2.75 millimeter needle, with 60 stitches on magic loop on my ChowGoo fixed circular, which is my favorite go-to sock needle. Even though like everybody else uses like 2.25 or 2.5 millimeter, but for some reason I just love the fabric that the 2.75 millimeter needle gives you. And yeah, so that's just the sock needle that I've been really loving lately. I'm gonna take a quick break and try and get my my dog situated and not whining, and then I will be right back with my next work in progress. Okay, I'm back, sorry. I realized that my dog had not had his medicine this morning, so that's probably one of the reasons why he's whiny. Anyway, so yeah, next work in progress. So while I was at my grandmother's house, I mentioned that I finished a pair of socks that I'll show you in a minute. But I needed something else to cast on, and I didn't, and I'm making excuses. So I cast on a Stephen West shawl. It's called the Excuse Me shawl. And so I'm learning brioche. So this is the first time I've ever done brioche. I looked up a couple of YouTube tutorials and here I am. So the yarns that I'm using Knit Picks Stroll Fingering in white. So it really is just plain old white. But I'm also using one of the skeins of the yarn that I got from the Fiberies Alchemy kit. And, oh God, I love this yarn. Okay, so it is Wonderland Yarns. It is, I think it's an 80-10-10. Yeah, 80, it's a merino cashmere nylon, so and it's 80 merino, 10 cashmere, 10 nylon. And it's, the colorway is Amethyst, and it is, it's exclusive, so you can't get it anywhere, but yeah, so I'm using those two yarns to make, so I'm sorry you can't get it anywhere, but yeah, I'm using it to make the Excuse Me shawl. So this is what I have so far. This is the end of the first like section, so I have to like, I think what's happening now is I'm moving these little stitch markers that I have and doing the increases in a different place. But yes, so I'm really loving the technique, and I already had an idea for a brioche section on a shawl that I want to make. Yeah, but I don't know how to write brioche. I don't know how to, I mean, seriously, this is my first bit of brioche, and I'm a little annoyed. So it's kind of the same way that you do, I'm not really giving too much away, it is a pay-for pattern, but it's kind of the same way you would do a garter tab cast on, and I'm not really excited about how I personally did this. I think it looks a little messy, but I don't honestly think that anyone is going to notice it. So I think that I'll be fine with it. I just am a little frustrated. I guess it was probably just how I picked the stitches up or what direction I held the needle while I did it. But yeah, so I'm really loving how this is working up, and I just love it. I love it so much. Yeah, so yeah. This I have a feeling is going to be my obsessive knit for the next 2 weeks, but we'll see. It's so soft. Sorry, I can't stop rubbing it on my face. I am knitting this on my Traogu interchangeables, on a, it is a 3.75 millimeter, which is a US 5, and I'm pretty sure that the pattern calls for a US 4, which I think is a 3 millimeter, maybe it's 3.25. I'm not sure. But Cal, honey, what's up? I am so sorry for my dog whining. I'm not really sure why he's whining. I think it's probably just because he's not used to me sitting here and talking to myself. And he does have a anxiety disorder, so it's probably just because it's new. Anyway, hopefully it doesn't bother you too much, and I can actually get through the episode. But yeah, so I'm knitting it on a needle size up, and I might switch, I'm not sure. I kind of like the fabric as it's turning out now, but then I realized like after I block it, it's gonna be like way bigger than it is. And so I'm not sure I'm going to like the finished product, but I don't want to rip it out. So yeah. I'm in that sort of gray area of gauge. Anyway, so I'm holding my Excuse Me shawl in my Mrs. Brown's bag. There's her little tag. I absolutely love this bag. It is perfect shawl size. I have 3 skeins of yarn in here and my little Excuse Me shawl, and it is perfect for a shawl size bag. Anyway, So those are my 3 big works in progress. I know I haven't shown you my Cozy Memories blanket recently, and it's because I've kind of fallen out of love with it. So I haven't really been working on it. But I think I may have a solution, but I'll get back to you on that. Because I do want a blanket of like scraps, like a scrappy kind of blanket, but I don't like granny stripe, and I'm not excited about I'm just not excited about knitting the little squares. So hopefully I can find something that will make me happier. Obviously that's the point of the Cozy Memories blanket. So hopefully I can find a shape that will make me happier to do my scraps, to make my scraps useful. Anyway, that was a tangent. Excuse me. Oh, all right. So I'm going to move on to finished objects. So I have quite a few finished objects today, and normally I don't have this many. And I have a little story to go along with my last finished object that I'll share. First, I'm going to share, none of these socks are blocked, and I don't know where my sock blockers are, so forgive me for the terrible display. So this is my Grand Central sock pattern. It's a pattern by Mina Phillip. It's the Knitting Expat. So it's really hard to see with the with how variegated this yarn is. It's got a little bit of a texture on the front part of the foot. I guess you can see it in contrast with the back part. So yeah, there's a little bit of texture here and just regular stockinette here. I did them cuff down. So I showed you the first one, and now I have a finished pair. This is my 6th pair for my box of socks. Yeah, so I'm happy with how these turned out. It took me a really long time to want to cast on the second one, which is why I'm enjoying the 2 at a time socks right now, because I won't get second sock syndrome. Or well, theoretically I won't get second sock syndrome. Maybe I'll just get I don't want to knit sock syndrome with the 2 at a time, but that hasn't happened yet, so we'll, keep our fingers crossed. Anyway, so the yarn that I used is, this is not the right tag for it, but this was the only one I could find. So it's One Lupin, which is my local yarn store. It's not the Shepherd's Choice. It is, I think they call that base Pemaquid, and I'm pretty sure that it's an 80-20, 80-20 nylon, or merino nylon blend. It's in a colorway called Kelp Garden, and this is what it looked like in the skein. It's the yarn is sourced in Maine, it's spun in Maine, and it was dyed, I'm pretty sure, by the woman who owns the store. That's what One Lupin does, is that they source all of their yarns in Maine, or most of their yarns in Maine, and most of their fiber for spinning in Maine. And they have it spun at a mill up in the county, up in Aroostook County, which is the very north part of Maine. At least I'm pretty sure that's where it is. Anyway, so those are my Grand Central socks. I'm calling them my Grand Central Kelp Garden. I will take pictures and upload them to Ravelry in my project pages as soon as I finish blocking them, actually. The next finished object I have to share with you is another pair of socks. So I showed these to you, I think, as works in progress last time. I may have finished the tube parts, but I added heels. So these are my first afterthought heel socks, and I have a story to tell you. So I did the measurements after I was finished knitting the tube part, right? And I was like, okay, put my heel in right here on this sock. Cool. So I popped the heel on. Actually, I think it was on this one. Popped the heel in, and this one fits perfectly. I put it in the exact right place. It actually fits my foot. I didn't do any rounds before I started the decrease. I just started decreasing. But yeah, so afterthought heel. I'm not sure I'm gonna do the technique again, but it was a really nice experiment and I like it. The second sock, however, I measured wrong and it was way too short. So I had to rip out my toe decreases. Knits, it was only 7 rows. I had to knit 7 rows of stockinette and then do the decreases again. I was really annoyed that it was only 7 rows, but they fit so much better now. I'm glad I pulled the toe out, but I was annoyed that it was for 7 rows. The first time I counted, I thought it was only 5 rows, and I was like, I was just gonna get really bad because 5 rows is not that many. Like it's oh. Anyway, it was frustrating, but I'm glad they're finished now. So this is, I think I was counting this as pair number 5. Either this is, like, I think it's either 5 and 6 or 6 and 7. I don't know. I finished these ones first, so yeah. These ones were done with a 2.25 millimeter needle. I forgot to mention, these are done with a 2.75 millimeter needle. These are done with a 2.25 millimeter needle, and it's done in Regia, Arnie and Carlos design line. It's the it's color 03655, which is Autumn Nights, and I've seen everybody else, or I've seen a bunch of other people do like the Summer Nights and the whatever, the other nights colorways, and I really like this one, and I think like the thing that makes it Autumn Nights is this orange stripe here. So there's this pink stripe down here, but there's this orange stripe right here, and I just really love the orange stripe. So I had 2 50-gram balls of these, and I had enough of each of them left over to make hand warmers that match. So these are just basic hand warmers. It's got 15 rows of a 2x2 rib. I think there are 52 stitches. It's done on a US 2, so 2.75 millimeter needle. I think I knit like 15 rows here of stockinette. I did the thumb increases. I did 10 more rows to complete the thumb gusset. I did 10 rows between where I split off the thumb. I did 10 rows of ribbing down here. I did a stretchy bind off, and then I went back and I did the thumb. And they fit me really well. And I think I may write down the pattern and just release it as a free pattern. Because I think it would work well for any self-striping yarn. I mean, obviously it works well for self-striping yarn, because it doesn't actually change very much. Like the one stitch you're increasing here doesn't really change the length of the stripes as much as I thought it might. But yeah, so I think it would be really, this basic one will be really nice for self-striping yarn. I think I may release a collection of these and do like stitch patterns on the backs. We'll see. We'll see how much actual designing I get done this summer. So I have a story about these. So I cast the first one on and I finished it after I had finished the tube of the first sock. So both of these came from one 50-gram ball. I did the second tube, put that aside, and then I still had a little bit left over for the heel on that first sock. Did the second tube, put it aside. And then it took me forever to cast on the second hand warmer. I don't have second sock syndrome most of the time. I have second hand warmer syndrome. And I actually thought that I would share with you the evidence of my second hand warmer syndrome, which is, these are 4. I only have 4 left. I probably used to have a bunch more. So I have a bunch of lonely hand warmers in my finished knitted objects I have a bag that has a bunch of knitted objects that I don't really want anymore, but I don't want to throw them away. Where I was weird and knit one hand warmer, also a weird, I think my gauge was off. So these two are crochet, but I think, so I used a super thick and bulky yarn for this one, and my gauge I was not using the right thing. Anyway, so it's supposed to be like decorative hand warmer, obviously, because that's not going to keep anyone warm. And then this one is also crocheted, and I'm pretty sure this is like just a red heart yarn, and I'm positive that these are both just red heart yarns. One of them is just cream, and the other one is variegated. I actually really like the colors in this, which is why, but yeah, this was when I was first starting crochet, but I did one, and I made a hat in the same yarn, and then I left it and didn't make the other one. And this one, I don't know what was up with this one, but I only made one of them. This one is a cable. This is my first attempt at cables, and it took me so long. And I did it. Oh, Kelsey, honey, it's okay. That was just a FedEx truck. It's okay. Yeah, he's a little nervous. It's okay. It's okay. So my third arm warmer of shame, but first time doing cables, I was very proud of myself when I was finished. I can't remember if I made the second one of these or not. I know that my dog, when he was a puppy, this was my first attempt, and this must have been 6 or 7 years ago. Maybe 6 years ago. But when my dog was a puppy, he ate a piece of knitwear, and I'm pretty sure that it was the other glove. So I did make the second one, but I never remade the second one. And then this is my last arm warmer of shame. My single arm warmer, first of all, that I've never worn. I've never worn any of them, obviously, because I don't have pairs, but I rarely ever wear arm warmers. So I'm thinking about the reason I'm sharing these with you. This one I think was in a yarn that I got from like Michael's or Joann's or something. It was like one of their sock yarns that's like mostly nylon and a little bit of wool. Anyway, the reason I'm sharing these arm warmers of shame with you is that I think that I may try and do my arm warmers 2 at a time. Now that I know how 2 at a time kind of works, and how it works for socks, I can see sort of how to do the increases for the gusset and split off for the gusset or the thumb stitches, and then still continue these. So I'm going to try it the next time that I make hand warmers. So yes, I actually have a pair. I'm so excited. It's really rare for me, obviously, to have a pair of hand warmers, so I'm really excited that I do. So that's actually finishes up my finished objects. So now I'm gonna move into acquisitions. So I'm gonna start with things that I bought for myself, and then I'll talk about a couple of things that got gifted to me. So first, I got in the mail from Amazing Crafts, which is one of the polymer clay artists that I follow, and I followed them for a really long time, and I don't remember where I heard about them, but I'm pretty sure I follow them on Instagram. So it's all right. It's okay. Can we take this blanket, please? Okay, sorry. So, this little cow is so cute. I'm actually going to give this as a gift, but I wanted to show it on the podcast because it is so cute. You can find this person, her name is Taylor, at Amazing Crafts, with 2 S's at Etsy. It's right here. Amazing Crafts, Etsy. I will link it, but I just thought that this cow was just too cute to pass up. My roommate loves cows, and my roommate doesn't watch this, so and I've showed her the picture before, but oh, look how cute. Look at his little ears. Oh, they're so cute. Okay. All right, I'll stop gushing about this cute little polymer clay charm. I can do polymer clay, but it really hurts my hands, so I don't tend to do it very often. The next one I forgot to take out of the package. Stop. Shh.
Cal, where's your blanket?
The next one, I've talked about this maker before. I follow her podcast, and we've been friends for quite a while now, a couple of years. It's the Corner of Craft. This is a pastel rainbow sheep stitch marker. Oh, I couldn't say no. I can't help it. Yeah, pastel rainbow sheep. What? I really love the little grape. Oh, I just love it. Okay, you can find her at the Corner of Craft .etsy.com. Here's more of her information on the back. First of all, I really love her little logo. I'm having logo woes at the moment, so I really appreciate her logo. I think it's very pretty. But yes, I'm having logo woes at the moment. But yeah, so cute little rainbow sheep. I'm adding that to my collection. My collection of just Hannah's little stitch markers, because I've shown this on the podcast before, but here's my little unicorn. I keep him with me like wherever I go. Pretty much. Like, he's not really a knitting, like, I don't use him as a knitting stitch marker very much as just like, I want to sit and look at you. But yeah, so now he has a buddy. I am a little annoyed at the postal service because I know, like, it doesn't bother me because it's not like in the middle of the stitch marker, but one of the, I don't know if you can see that, but one of the beads broke in the mail. But I'm not really, doesn't really matter, because I can tell where it broke from, and that's mostly because I used to do beadwork. Stop, please. I still kind of do beadwork. But I can tell where it broke from and it doesn't bother me at all. So, but yeah, anyway. So, those are my two little Corner of Craft stitch markers. I'm gonna stick those in my, so I keep all of my stitch markers in this really adorable fish bag that I bought at Daiso in San Francisco. Anyway, yeah, so those are the two things that I bought for myself. The other acquisitions that I have are gifts and whatever. Well, I bought myself this ring the other day. That was fun. My aunt actually gave me this. So my grandmother just went to see my aunt and my cousins. One of my cousins was graduating from high school, so my grandmother went down there and she came back with this for me. It's really pretty. It's like, it's leather, and I really enjoy it. And they went to a craft, like art fair kind of thing. And my grandmother brought these back for me. So, oh, they are so pretty. So it's two 38-gram skeins of hand spun yarn. And it's 2-ply, but I'm pretty sure that it's a lace weight because it's like about 300 yards for 38 grams. So I'm gonna say it's probably a lace weight 2-ply. Yeah, that's one strand. Yeah, so, but it's hand spun, and I think that I'm probably going to design either a shawl or a cowl out of them. It is 80% merino, 20% silk, and it's from a company called Kinked and Twisted. Here's their business card. It's like metallic. I absolutely love it. Her name is Jessica. And you can find them. I think they have an Instagram. I follow them on Instagram. But it's kinkedandtwisted.com. So there's that. I love this yarn. I think, yeah, I'm pretty positive that this is a lace weight. I'm probably going to design a shawl with it, and maybe I'll use, I have a Shetland lace book, so maybe I'll use that to find a stitch pattern to use for this, but look at how pretty that is. Look at those colors. It's gorgeous. Okay, so there's that. I think that's actually it for my acquisitions. But yeah, so that was a gift. I was really good this time. These last 2 weeks, I haven't bought anything. I was doing really well, so I'm proud of myself. But yeah, so that's everything for the knitting and crafting content of my episode. Thank you so much for joining me. If you, obviously if you were just here for the knitting content, then I will see you in 2 weeks' time for my next episode, and I'll update you on what's going on here. But if you are sticking around, then you're welcome to, obviously. So the last 2 weeks, what did I do? I started semi-summer hours at my job, but I still have several days off during the week to either do other work or to knit or what have you. It has been knitting recently. Sit, please. Yeah, so I've been knitting a lot, and he wants me to throw his toy for him. So I've been knitting a lot, and last weekend was Memorial Day weekend. I recorded a couple of little videos that I may, I'm not gonna pop them into this video because I'm sure this episode is super long anyway, but I will put them in their own video. I think I'm gonna call it Quarrelsome Rhinoceros Summer. So I'm gonna take a couple of little vlogs over the summer of things that we do. Especially like Sunday mornings, I always go to the lake. So we may take a couple of videos while we're at the lake or whatever. So, so I'll also probably narrate the one that I took so that I can tell you like why I'm bothering filming that thing that anyway. But yeah, so I went to visit my grandmother for Memorial Day. So I drove down there on Sunday after work. And no, not after work. I picked her up from the airport. Wow. I don't even know. So she went down to Pennsylvania and watched my cousin graduate from high school. And then she came back on Sunday. And I picked her up from the airport and drove her home to Belfast, which is about 45 minutes from where I live. And I stayed the night there, and then she drove, and I got to knit in the car. It was awesome. She drove, and we went down to Owl's Head, and visited a friend of hers, and I took a little bit of video. And I knit, and we sat around and chatted. We watched a part of a movie, and then we came back, had some dinner, and then my grandmother had to work for the next 2 days. So Tuesday and Wednesday, I stayed up there as well. So she had to work the next 2 days, and I sat around her house and watched TV and knit for those 2 days, which is why I got a sock and most of the second, another pair finished. Anyway, yeah, and then I drove back home on Wednesday night, and then Thursday. I think I'm gonna have to start uploading my podcasts on Fridays now, because my summer hours have me working on Thursdays, so I don't know, I'm not gonna be able to record on Thursdays, because I won't have enough light when I get home. So yeah, I'm gonna have to start doing Friday recordings for podcasts. But I will definitely like upload them on Fridays as well. I may do like a Monday or a Tuesday like extra video, like vlog video if I take one. But yeah, so Friday is the new day for the podcast. And I'm debating whether or not I want to do it every week because this was a fairly long episode and I don't tend to have a longer like recording time. Like I have, I don't know, a short window in which to record most of the time. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do these super long episodes anymore. Can you please stop? And then hopefully by the time the next episode rolls around, that will not be an issue anymore. I really do think that he's just really nervous because he doesn't understand why I'm sitting in the kitchen. But yeah, other than that, it's been pretty relaxed. I'm really excited. I got my grades back from school, so I made the dean's list again, which is really good. I still have to figure out like what's going on next semester, which I don't even really want to think about right now because it's only June. I mean, it's just now June, so I've been out of school for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. 2 weeks? 3 weeks. 3 weeks. But yeah, there's that. So, thank you guys so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again. Either, I'm not sure if it's going to be next week or the week after, but I will see you again very soon. Yeah, if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. And yeah, let me know how you liked the episode. Also, check out the Ravelry group if you're interested in either test knitting or just seeing the show notes for this episode, and all the others. Or not all of the others. I think I started with episode 9. But yeah, thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.